Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another channel called Latina Diaspora where I discuss issues regarding Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled, meaning if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently has joined as late as today, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is keeping your inner peace. So I will be discussing what that is and what that entails. Okay. Just to let you know that continuing into this month and the month of December, I will have different topics regarding with issues of mental health. And the reason behind that, because we all know that during the holiday season, the cases of depression rise, and unfortunately, mental illness rises as well, along with thoughts of self-deletion. So, before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, there's been a lot of talk lately regarding Jeffrey Epstein, and and there's certain files and certain documents regarding him, of which people are requesting to be released. Because he is notorious regarding allegations of exploitation of minors, particularly exploitation on an interstate basis. He was arrested, unfortunately, he was self-deleted. So before he before he took his own life, there was files regarding certain politicians that were familiar to him, both on the Democratic side and the Republican side. So there's been a huge outcry to have those files revealed. You know who's been fighting that? President Trump. And it does not bode very well because when you protest that much, you try to hide it, that means there may be some ugly secrets that he doesn't want them to know. Now, he is, of course, the first president to be convicted of crimes to be elected to the White House. And his record is not very wholesome. He's been responsible for multiple times declaring bankruptcy, not to mention cases of infidelity regarding his wives. And of course, there was the hush money they tried to hide regarding his illicit affair with Stormy Fields, which is a porn star. One thing we all have to bear in mind: whatever misdeeds are done in secret, sooner or later they're going to come out in public. They're going to come out. Whether they're going to come out in public when you're alive, or they're going to come out when you pass away and you're standing before God Almighty, where He's going to make judgment on how you live your life. And yes, folks, there is a day of judgment coming for every single person, at which all of us are going to be judged regarding all our thoughts, all our actions. And depending on what was the outcome of our thoughts or actions, we will determine where we spent eternity, which there's only two choices. Either we're going to spend eternity with God in heaven, or we're going to spend eternity separated from God, just pass for an eternity of torment and being tormented by all the opportunities that they have received to repent, all the times that they received mercy, but they did not repent, they did not reform their ways, and they didn't make their peace with God. Now, I know some people don't like to talk about those topics, but that is a reality. We all have to face judgment for all our actions and all our words. And that should serve for us to be mindful that our thoughts and our words have consequences. Now, of course, the next thing I want to talk about is this. Well, I'm glad that the longest government shutdown is over, because what that means is federal employees will get their back pay. People who are entitled to SNAP benefits will get SNAP benefits. But at the same time, I am mindful of the fact that this budget resolution will fund the government until January the 30th. Which means, guess what, folks? We could be heading for another government shutdown, particularly if the Republicans fail on their promise to have a vote regarding the extension of the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. Now, for years, Donald Trump has been trying to kill the Affordable Act because it was called Obamacare. For whatever reason, he has this paranoia regarding Barack Obama. And he's talking about, oh, he has another plan, he has another plan, he has a better plan. Well, he finally stated what was his so-called plan. Is give the subsidies to the people and let the people buy medical coverage. That's basically is Trump's alternative to the Affordable Care Act, called Trump Care. When I first heard that, it's like, oh, great, another Trump project which will fail. Because remember, he's the one that gave us Trump Airlines, Trump University, and of course, his bankruptcies regarding his casinos. Not exactly a stellar performance by someone claims to be the expert of the deal. But then again, I don't claim to be an expert in business. I'm just an elderly person giving you my point of view. Now, I'll give Barack Obama credit that at least he did create a system where millions of Americans who did not have medical coverage was given medical coverage. Was it perfect? No. Did it have flaws? Yes. But one thing, I do give Barack Obama an A for effort. And I do have one hope, is that next year when we have the midterm elections, that the voters will become more intelligent regarding who they're going to vote for, as far as represented in Congress and represented in the Senate. Time will tell whether or not we have learned or we're going to repeat the same mistakes again. Now, with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Now, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine, they may do so. Let me make this absolutely positively clear. If I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up with the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash any pornographic material, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. Now, once I determine that you are not going to do that, that you are going to abide by my rules and guidelines, then I'll let you on the panel. Okay. And as I said before, I will be getting into several topics that has to deal with mental health issues. And why is keeping your inner peace very important? Well, first of all, in order for you to function, in order for you to think clearly, you need to be in peace with yourself. If if and it does require you to set up boundaries, okay, where you don't want anyone to cross, okay, which means which means several things. First of all, avoiding toxic people because they will try to rob you of your peace. Also, there are certain people that are in reality a negative influence and people that you try to avoid. And what I mean negative influence is that people basically they complain, they never have a positive word, and basically everything with them is doom and gloom. Okay. One thing we have to bear in mind is that a thing called the power of confession. What you confess will become a reality. Now, if you confess that you're going to have a good day, chances are you're going to have a good day. Are you going to have challenges? Yes, we all have challenges. But if you confess that today is going to be a good day, it's going to be a good day. Now, if you confess today is going to be a crappy day, well, guess what? It's going to be a crappy day because that's the power of confession. Now, let me just see. Okay. I just was checking and see who's watching on Instagram. Okay. So just give me a moment. Now, the question is, how do you find your inner peace or maintain your inner peace? But there's certain things that you can do. Number one, meditate. And meditation could be simply just, putting yourself in deep thought. Now, I'm going to let you, now, what I do is when I'm getting ready to go to sleep, what I would do is I would go to sleep to some relaxing music, okay? Music that will put my mind at ease because by doing that, it'll help me to relax and help me to go to sleep. Uh, the next thing you can do is live in the present. Okay. Now, what some people do is they live in the past and they're haunted by the past. There's a reason why it's called a past because it's something that happened. You cannot you cannot undo your past, but what you can do is you can learn from the mistakes that you made in the past. So the next time you don't repeat the same mistakes, and when you face similar situations, you'll be more properly prepared, which means your outcomes will be different. The next thing is cultivate a positive mindset. And one of the easiest ways to have develop a positive mindset is the power of confession. Okay? Because what you do is when you confess something, you breathe life into it. So if you confess that today is gonna be a positive day. Today you're gonna have success. Okay, chances are you're going to achieve. But if you just as you can, you can speak positive words into life, you can also speak negative words into life. Okay, and I have a phrase for people who think negatively and that nature. I call it stinking thinking. Okay, so one key is to develop a culture of positive mindset is the power of confession. And of course, it doesn't hurt to think back of some of the victories that you have because what it will do is encourage you to face with new challenges. Another thing you need to do is you need to develop a love for yourself. Now, when I mean a love for yourself, I'm not talking about love in an egotistical way. I'm talking about love where you care about your well being, where um, you are concerned about maintaining your physical health, your mental health, and your spiritual health. Okay, which I call the three leg stool of healthy living. Okay, in order for uh, a stool to be able to support your weight, it needs all three legs. In order to be healthy, you need to be healthy physically, mentally, and spiritually. There are many people who may be physically well, but they're not mentally well and they're not spiritually well. The next thing you can do is practice self care. And what that means is to care about yourself, um, that you would do whatever is necessary for your well being. So let's just focus on healthy. Healthy living means that you get your sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Meaning that you eat healthy meals, preferably three. Okay, and that you have some sort of physical activity on a regular basis. Make sure that if you have any issues, you turn to a doctor to take care of whatever health issues that you have. The next thing you can do is visualize a peaceful place. In other words, a place where there is no agony, there is no pain, there is no difficulty. Now, of course, for me, the place I visualize is heaven, where I hope to spend eternity with, and I believe if I'm faithful to Jesus until the very end, love Jesus above everyone else, I will spend eternity with him. Another thing to do is to breathe effectively. In other words, you breathe in, you breathe out. Breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon monoxide. Okay. Because when you're upset, um, your breathing is effective. And of course, access nature, which means um, being around living things, trees, plants, and things of that nature. Now, there are now. Let me just share with you ways of maintaining peace. Conflict prevention. Okay. Um, in other words, do not create conflicts or try to avoid creating conflicts as much as possible. Conflicts will occur, but it doesn't mean you have to actually go out and actively create conflicts. Meditation, in other words, putting yourself in in a frame of mind where you can relax and you can think um, wholesome thoughts. Peacekeeping, in other words, maintaining an atmosphere of peace. Peace building, in other words, um, peacekeeping, you maintaining peace for yourself. Peace building is that when whenever there's a conflict, you try to bring up solutions. And disarm, meaning eliminated, you know, the factors as much as you can to avoid conflict. Now, let me just define what is inner peace. Inner peace is a state of mental and emotional calmness, contentment, and balance, even amidst life challenges and stresses. It is a sense of internal harmony, tranquility, and freedom from anxiety and worry, achieved by being at ease with oneself and the world. The state of psychological homeostasis allows one mind to function optimally regardless of external circumstances. Okay, let me just check and see. Okay, so let me just share with you some other things to consider. Emotional and mental state. It involves a deep sense of calm, serenity, and tranquility when one is less impacted by stress, anger, or fear. Internal harmony. It is about feeling at ease with yourself, others, and the world around you, fostering a sense of wholeness and balance. Resilience. Inner peace is not about conflict free life, but the ability to maintain calm and balanced disposition despite stressors and external turmoil. Mindfulness and self awareness. It is often cultivated through practices that increase mindfulness, self awareness, and emotional regulation, such as meditation, yoga, or prayer. Now, in all fairness, I'm not into yoga. I do not wish to take yoga because it comes from Hindu um, influences. And freedom from negative emotions. It involves transcending or eliminating negative feelings like anxiety, worry, greed, and hatred, replacing them with more positive emotions like love and peace. Now, who blocks the path to inner peace? Toxic individuals who drain your energy, belittle your dreams, or create unnecessary drama can significantly hinder your peace of mind. These relationships often leave you feeling exhausted, undervalued, and emotionally unbalanced. So, there's certain people for your own well-being is best to avoid because they're too toxic and they try to rob you of your peace. Now there are five levels uh, of peace. Additionally, these concepts enumerate at least five interrelated and independent spheres of peace and right relationship that need to be nurtured towards the full development of the peace builder: the personal, the social, the political, the institutional, and the ecological. Now, let's talk about the golden rules of peace. There are two. Number one, to respect ourselves, to affirm others, and avoid uncaring criticism, hurtful words, physical attacks, and self-destructive behavior. So let me just repeat it. To respect ourselves, to affirm others, and avoid uncertain criticism, hurtful words, physical attacks, and self-destructive behavior. In other words, be kind, be caring, be responsible. And the other one, to share our feelings honestly, to look at our safe ways to express our anger, and to work at solving problems peacefully. Okay, I think that's self-explanatory. Okay. Now, one thing, there are different types of peace. Okay. And I'm just going to share with you. Peace is an ongoing process. Positive peace, structural peace, which is justice. Negative peace, peace is a feeling, experience, and outcome. Okay. Let me just see. My apologies. I do have to check every now and then to see if there's anyone watching on Instagram. Now there are certain things that can create a lack of inner peace, and they are insecurity, comparing yourself to others, lack of direction, and emotional impairments. That's just a few. Learning to overcome these obstacles and understanding perfectionism can put you on the right track. Outside forces are obstacles to inner peace as well. Okay, so let's talk about insecurity. When you're insecure, you're not sure yourself. You're not sure of what actions to take. You're not sure if you're taking the right action or the right path. Another issue is comparing yourself to others. One thing to bear in mind is that each one of us is wonderfully and fearfully made by God Almighty. Okay. So it's not really a good thing to compare yourself to others because, first of all, they don't have your life experiences. You don't have their life experiences. They also don't have the type of whole life experiences that you may have. Another issue is a lack of direction. Okay. Which go inside with indecision. Let's see. So now the question is, what is peace? Okay. In simple terms, peace is a state of calmness and quiet, free from conflict, stress, and worry. It can mean the absence of war or public disturbance, as well as personal feeling of inner tranquility and harmony with others. Now, let me explain to you what is external peace. This refers to the state of quiet and order in the public world. Examples include a nation free of war, a community without public disorder, or a group of people living in harmony without disagreement. And then there's inner peace. This is the state of mind that is calm, quiet, and free of stress, worry, and internal conflict. It's a feeling of being safe and happy even when facing challenges. When you have inner peace, you can deal with whatever difficult situation. And and a good example, excuse me, a good example of this is unfortunately those who became martyrs of the faith. Okay, so they were Christians who were persecuted for their belief in Christ, and even though they faced horrific deaths, they faced them heroically and stoically because they knew that their final destination is eternity in God's presence. Excuse me. So that's going to share with you a couple of things. Now, what disturbs inner peace? Perfectionism is the enemy of progress and thief of peace. The constant pursuit of perfection brings stress and anxiety and disappointment because what you consider perfect outcome today will not be perfect at some time when you grow or technology grows. We live in a world where everyone glorifies perfection. Now, one thing we have to bear in mind, we are all imperfect. Okay? The only one that's perfect is God Almighty Himself. So therefore, being that we imperfect, some of us um stresses perfectionism. And we could be very disappointed when we don't reach perfection. To deal with it, try not to be perfect. Try to be the best version of yourself. Now, what gives you your inner peace? Self-care is important to finding peace and happiness. How can you truly be happy in life if you cannot love yourself? Loving yourself means looking at your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health, which is what I said earlier. These include eating healthy, exercise regularly, and looking after your overall well-being. Okay. Now, one thing I try to do is I try to maintain my physical well-being, my mental well-being, my emotional well-being, and my spiritual well-being. So how do I take care of the physical? Make sure I eat a healthy diet. Make sure I get my sleep. Make sure I engage in some sort of physical activity on a weekly basis, and schedule my medical appointments whenever it's necessary. And as far as my mental peace is concerned, um, maintaining healthy barriers, um, avoiding people who are extremely toxic and narcissistic. Okay, to the extent that I'm able, and spiritual well-being, making sure that my relationship with God is healthy and in growth. And, uh, and of course, I'm going to share a scripture with you regarding the topic, which is in the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 27, which says, "Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. Not as the world gives, do, do I give. Let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." But when we can have, peace in our midst in difficult times, that's the testimony of the peace of God. Okay. First of all, one thing, what that verse tells us, the one that gives us true peace. Oh, good evening, Gigi. Thank you very much for stopping by. Let me just. Uh, the link is there, but I'll drop it again. Just give me a moment. Oh. Okay. So the link, so the link is I downloaded the link, and for those who are just tuning in, the topic is keeping your inner peace, which is very important. Okay, because we all know for a fact that there's certain people, when they see people where they are in peace with themselves, it bothers them like crazy. Now, let me just state for the we have a guest, so let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy material without the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to image. Some of the views that people hold may be considered offensive. Some views. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And now we're going to bring in our guest. Good evening, Gigi.
Hey, Jose, how you doing?
Fine. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Everybody's asleep. I just got finished straightening my hair, and I came and sat down and looked at my phone, and I saw you were live, so I thought I'd come over and support you. How you doing, Jose?
Well, fine. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Oh, and before I forget, of course, my friend Gigi has her own channels when she puts a lot of great content. So I'm going to ask that you please show some love, check out her content, and subscribe. But my apologies for the commercial.
Thanks, Jose.
So what do you think about the topic about keeping your inner peace?
I just came in, so but I can say that obviously keeping your inner peace is key, right? It's key.
Yeah.
because you can't you can't control always what's going on around you or with the people around you or even things that are going on in life. But yeah, you can control your inner peace, right? You can manage it.
Well, one thing I always say, you cannot control what other people say or what other people do. You
Hmm.
control what's going to be your response.
Exactly. Well, as
Okay.
far as my responses, I've decided now that I got the memberships and everything back up on my channel that whatever that I have to say that might not be the nicest or whatever is just going to go on memberships only because I don't want, that trash on my channel. So I'll be running my mouth over there on my memberships.
Well, hopefully you extend the opportunity to join the membership.
Yeah, it's on my channel. You just hit the join button.
Okay, fine, definitely.
Because you could
No,
probably do
but
that now as well, Jose, too, because you only need 500 subscribers and I think you need maybe 3,000 watch time
I
hours,
know,
I
but I
believe.
don't even have anything. I don't have. The thing is, I don't have anything close to 3,000 3,000 hour watch time.
Oh man. Shit.
But you know what's funny? You know what's funny? But you know what's funny? At one time, I had the watch time, but not the subs. Now I'm getting the subs, but I'm not getting the watch time.
I found it's always been more harder to get the subscribers than the watch time hours because a lot of the haters will watch you, but they won't sub. So it's been the opposite for me. It's more of a struggle to get all the subs than it is. I am going to say a struggle because, I mean, considering that I've rebuilt 3 channels from scratch, I mean, you know, I be running circles around motherfuckers around
Well,
here.
well, we all
It
know
is
that
what
this
it
is a
is.
marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. But I'm in the marathon running circles around motherfuckers. I gotta talk my ish
Well,
sometimes, Jose.
you know what's going to be the latest crap that the ops are going to say?
What?
The hell saying that Grow is buying some.
Hold on. It went out a little bit. You said what?
Okay, but you know what's going to be the latest ish that my ops are going to say? That Hossein
What?
Negron is buying is buying subs.
Why? Nah, you've had this channel for a long time, so you've been slow but steady, and slow but steady does win the race.
Okay, but
Sometimes.
we remember we're dealing with people who are very emotional, um, which I like to refer to as members of the circus. So they like to take their own sick narratives.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. But, also you know, it comes with that inner peace. It ties back into your concept, your topic, because once you get to a place where you're like, these people are shitty ass people. Like, why should I care if they're sitting around judging me or talking bad about me when they're clearly not great people, right? So it'd be different if you had, like, I don't know, a bunch of distinguished or I don't know, maybe the church is coming against you or people that actually have some sort of a moral standing. But, when you're being judged by like narcissists and sociopaths and liars and scammers, and it's like, who cares? You know, you go back to that inner peace and you're good.
Well, part of is the inner peace is knowing who I am,
Hmm.
and I've been out in these YouTube streets for 4 years, so people know basically how I function.
Yeah, knowing who you are and knowing who the people are that you're dealing with as well. You know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah,
tools.
yes. And of course, whenever it's necessary, avoid certain people like the plague.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a lot easier now because everything is more separated, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, in all fairness, there's certain channels I no longer visit. No shade towards those people. It's just that I'm trying to be the best version of myself.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I see that your
And
channel's going into like a Christian. It always had like the backdrop of a Christian perspective, but I would say yeah, like your channel now is more so going towards like a Christian channel, right?
okay. It was neither purely Christian, but it's like, you know where I stand, and I just decide, you know what, I'm just gonna let that more reflect, be a reflection of who I am, because see, to me, this platform is also a pulpit.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
mean, that's the thing too about YouTube is that like you be on YouTube for years and you'll go in different directions at different times. And people will probably they'll like be like, "Oh, well, you're grifting or whatever." But the reality is like, yeah, some people do grift, but people's opinions also change and the way they want to go about things and maybe the representation that they want to have for themselves or their channel can change as well, you know. You grow.
Yes. And of course, another thing that helps me is I develop a serious case of I don't careitis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing when you reach a certain age in life. It's after a while, you really don't care. I mean, these people, they do not pay my bills. I'm never going to meet them, outside of outside of this platform. And if they have an issue with the fact that I'm trying to be the best version of myself, it's their problem, not my problem.
Yeah, but do you have is anybody bothering you currently, Jose?
No,
Okay, well that's good.
no,
Even when people try to
no, but
tag me in the nonsense or whatever and try to draw me back in, I just ignore it. Like I ain't got no time
yeah,
for all that. Like y'all want to continue fighting with certain individuals, go ahead, enjoy yourself. I don't have time for it, you know? I literally come to YouTube as an outlet for like I like creating content, being creative as far as like the visuals and stuff like that. Like I really didn't come to YouTube to fight. So and I try to avoid fighting, but when you report on stuff, people get mad. And sometimes
you
you
know,
fall back
I,
into the back and forth, but I feel like it's more damaging to my channel to be going back and forth with hood rats than just to ignore them.
I mean, look, I have known you for about 3 or 4 years, okay,
Mhm.
and basically, you're one of those type of individuals. Either people they love you or they hate your guts,
Yeah, it's always going to be
and you're a
polarizing. I've
sweet
realized
person.
that too.
I mean,
About
you're a
my
sweet
content.
person. It's just that whatever. It's like it bothers them, or I don't know, or maybe they're just frustrated at your success.
That's part of it. Also, people don't necessarily always like strong willed or opinionated women. And number three, like I feel like as a biracial person that I don't fit in anybody's box. So my talking points are going to be like all over the place in certain things because I feel different ways about different things. So I'm not always going to align with any group of people, including my own. I have my own
Yeah.
opinions about things, you know. I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
so I have been doing more political commentary. Like, what have you been thinking about all that's going on with the whole, like, I don't know, the Candace Owens and like even the alt-right? Like, what
Uh,
do you think about the conservative party splitting between basically the alt-right, which is, let's be honest, the Nazis, the schmazzies, and the regular conservatives? Like, they got a lot of tea going on over there.
yeah, particularly between Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump. I mean, it's like
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
never
a
thought.
good one. That's some good stuff.
I mean, I never thought that I would see that happening. I don't. I mean, I wouldn't even know what's going on. But the fact of the matter is, he is so concerned about the Jeffrey Epstein files and whether or not his name is listed. And it's like, uh, for a person that talks about that they're innocent, he protests too much.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they're constantly accusing him and making AI photos, and I mean, I mean, he's not just pulling the shit out of his ass. He's defending himself, right?
Okay, you know what? I get it, but I mean, the problem is when you make a whole lot of accusations about others, people are going to reciprocate and do the same thing.
Yeah, but it
So
doesn't
I mean,
change the
Donald
fact,
Trump is
though.
not exactly. No, I get it, but then
Yeah.
again, Donald Trump is not exactly a choir boy either. Let's keep it real.
No, I don't think that he's a choir boy, but I think there's a very distinct difference in, not saying that it's right either, but a man that sleeps with prostitutes and then a man that sleeps with children. There's a very big difference there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
Hmm.
true. It does that. I mean, but actually, I don't know if you are aware, but King Charles's brother, um,
Andrew,
I
right?
forgot who his name,
Andrew, Prince Andrew.
Edward, whatever. Yeah, he had to give up his titles because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, they had too many receipts on him being a creep. Hmm.
But something. In all fairness, I mean, a lot of the kings of Great Britain, they weren't exactly a bunch of choir boys either.
No, and I mean, they got even bigger problems on their hand, which something that you probably won't relate to, Jose, since you voted the way that you voted. But they also have sold out their country, and they are pretty much under invasion, and their government is being taken over
Okay.
by radical Islamists. So he has, they have a lot of problems going on over there in the UK right now, currently, including they're on the brink of a civil war.
Yeah.
But I do kind of think that that is the goal for everyone. If you notice, they're trying to push us into that as well. That's why you see the blacks and the whites are fighting, and the Spanish and the blacks, and they're trying to push the race stuff on us so we can all fight amongst each other. And some people are falling into it, and others aren't. And don't forget about the
Well,
little hat hate
I believe,
too. That's the major division right
yeah,
now.
yeah, but Gandhi, I think, said it very well. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind.
Mm, yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, all this division, um, it's just one of the many signs that we're in the final days, where the
Yeah,
love many will grow cold, where people will think what is right is wrong, what's wrong is right. I mean, if this is not sign that we're in the final days, then I don't know what it is.
yeah. There's a lot of different signs that
Uh,
are pointing in that direction.
yeah. Now, as far as since we got to since you really bring it up, as far as my choice as far as mayor, um,
Jose, I'm so disappointed in you. I
basic.
love you, friend, but I am so disappointed in you. I'm not gonna lie to you, Jose. I'm mad at you.
Okay.
What the frick is
Okay.
wrong with you? Like,
Okay.
is it
Well, first
okay?
of all, there's no
Or
way.
is it
Okay.
because you're
First of all,
older
there's
and you
no.
don't give a crap about what's gonna happen in 20 years from
No,
now,
it's
or
not.
what?
No. It's not that. It's not that. It's basically I just took a look um, of the three main candidates that was there. Sliwa was a joke. Como, I just couldn't see myself voting for him, um, considering that he basically shoved a terrible pension tier plan on state municipal employees and thousands of city municipal employees. So that left me with Mondani. Now,
So
do
let me
I
ask you
think
an
that I
honest question, Jose. So,
yes.
what did you think about his immediate speech afterwards? Did you kind of like what went through your head when you heard his speech?
I didn't hear it the whole thing, so I'll have to listen to him what he said. But look, a
Well, they said
lot
he
of the
was
stuff that
smiling
he
and
wants to do.
happy. They said he was smiling and happy and friendly, and then when he won, he came and he gave that speech where he, you know, kind of took the mask off and was very, very aggressive compared to, the person that he presented initially.
Well, let's keep it real. A lot of these politicians are chameleons. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, Now, of course, a lot that he wants to do is never going to get done. First of all, there's no the free bus service. That's never going to happen. Never going to happen.
And Trump made a
Governor
good point
Hochul.
too. Trump made a good point too, where he said, you have all these plans of these things that you want to do, which you're going to need basically federal funding and help from me to accomplish. So you would think that you would be a little bit more respectful. What'd you think about that?
Yeah.
Did he have a point?
Okay. Well, actually, I think in a way, you know what? In a way, yeah. Okay. I
Hmm.
mean, look, you don't have look. The fact of the matter is, you do have to at least try to work with Trump to the extent that you're able.
Yeah,
Okay.
to make progress. Hmm.
If if Trump proposes something that's going to harm New Yorkers, you have to speak up, but be respectful when you do so.
But this wasn't about him introducing anything to harm New Yorkers. This was just about him winning and saying, "Nana, nana, boo, boo, I won it, motherfucker." So,
You
like,
know
you
what?
know what I mean?
You know what? You know what? That's why it's better to be a more gracious winner and a gracious loser.
Hmm. But all in all, though, even though I kid you and I give you a hard time, you are happy with your decision, though?
Let's just say I made the best, well, the recently best choice that was available. Now I'm gonna hold Mandani accountable for for his actions. Okay, and if he does not do a good, if he does not do a good job in his function as mayor, he's not going to get my vote 4 years later.
So in reality, like the powers that like a mayor has, is it really that he really can't do much to affect the world, right? Is it more so about just the what's the word that I'm looking for? The optics of it all, like the win, like you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, mayor of New York more so than like the actual power that he has to, you know, because there are places in the country, I don't know if you've been paying attention to that as well, where they have they have Sharia law, and like People have an agenda here. So he do you think that he really can do a lot of damage like people are worried about, or do you think it's more so like the optics surrounding it, like a win for that side?
I think part of the problem is that there is a lot of anti-Muslim bias that
Mhm.
exists.
But
Okay,
have you ever
because if
questioned
you, I
why
mean,
that is? Have you ever done a deep dive into like that religion and see what they are and are
oh,
allowed to do?
I
I mean,
okay, I think part of it is that they don't know what Islam is about. They think that everyone is an extremist. Okay, just like when it comes to Christianity, there are people that are extreme. There are people who are in the Jewish community that are extreme. So unfortunately, in every religion based system, you're gonna find people who are extreme.
and I totally agree with that. Because clearly there's over 1 billion Muslim people in this country and they're not violent, right? But the point is that but if you're putting their leaders into power, it's the leaders that put everyone, including them, um, when you don't know if they're really extremists or not, into a position to where everything just goes bad. I mean, they even got like the leader of Pakistan who was like, I believe in the Taliban. He was just at the White House. So they got terrorists in suits now coming in, and you understand what I'm saying? Like it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on,
Yeah, yeah, it
which
is.
is very, very
Well, one
worrisome. And
okay
I feel
now.
like people in America don't do the real research of what people are going through in other countries, and they're very ignorant to how ugly things can get. Like they're slaughtering
Well,
Christians in Sudan and in Nigeria and in the Middle East.
I think what it is that people are too preoccupied with their own individual situations, and they're not mindful that in other countries their situation is worse. When you're talking about people facing persecution for their beliefs to the extent that they're getting deleted
Hmm.
for being Christians, and then you have the situation um, where like in Israelis being killed by Hamas, and this is the thing that troubles me. Everyone's focusing on Israel. Israel's doing this. Israel's doing that. Israel's whatever.
Because of the
But
propaganda
yet,
war. Hmm.
but yet you don't focusing on Hamas. Okay, and the last time I checked, um, you don't repay evil with evil.
And I did want to touch on that because I feel like, okay, so let's just put it this way. So you got the one side that says, well, we can't criticize the little hats because then we're accused of being anti Semitic, blah, 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 blah. And that's ridiculous, which I agree with. And but it goes the other way too, because just because I have reservations about certain things, and I actually have looked into the religion and what is allowed, including lying to us about what their real intentions are. I mean, it does take a cause for pause, but that does not mean that I hate that group of people. If anything, like I'm heartbroken for that group of people because whether people know it or not, like they're the ones that are suffering the most under these, you know, killer cults, right?
Yeah,
They're the ones that are in close
I mean, look,
proximity to these psychos.
look. I have a problem when you cannot um, call to action a group of people that are not acting right,
Mhm.
whether it be Jews, whether it be Christians, whether it be Muslims, whether it be I have a huge issue because I believe in accountability. And
We can
if
all be
when
called
you
to the
when you're right,
table.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're right, you're right, and you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you're wrong, guess what? People are going to focus on that.
See, the only issue with that whole situation is it's the only like religion that where it's like the goal is to be forced on everyone, and they're like, and even like the people that are in it, if they want to leave, they can get like unalived or harmed. So that's really what the issue is, because like this is America. Like, we don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, or whatever. Like, we care about just living in harmony alongside each other, right? You know, but every we're in America. Everybody doesn't think like we think. You know.
No, you see,
And
and
it's
this
just like
this
even
is see,
in a
this is one of
smaller
the
scale
beauty.
in our spaces, Jose. Like, we've seen that in these spaces, like on a very tiny, tiny level. Like, for whatever reason, when human beings get some little bit of power, everybody else has to like believe what they believe and think how they think and go along with what they say, right?
Yeah, which is basically the definition of a cult or an echo chamber. If content creators want to function run their channels as an echo chamber, by all means do that. Okay, practice your stupidity over there. Just don't bring your stupidity over here.
So like when they come in my comment section and they're like questioning me, like you said, like everybody is allowed to have their point of view, and I leave it. I only delete or block people that are threatening me, name calling me, or being racist or anti-Semitic or even anti-Muslim. Like, if like just being disrespectful and hateful to people in general. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for free speech, but you know, a lot of that stuff is under attack right now currently.
Well, one thing we have to understand with free speech, there's also accountability.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, you can't go into a crowded theater and yell fire and then expect the people to be calm and not get excited. I mean, you can say whatever you want. However, with every word, there's going to be consequences, either good or bad. And unfortunately, Charlie Kirk found that out the hard way when he was deleted.
But I am absolutely against
I
that.
never.
I'm absolutely against that. That goes against everything that we believe and what our country is founded on, even though it happens. But like, I really do have that thought that, like, even if somebody's out here saying the most ridiculous things and they're dangerous and they have like dangerous like, but they still have a right to do that. But we have a right to criticize them.
Yeah,
But they still have that right to do
and
so
we also
because it's freedom of speech.
and we also have a right to highlight inappropriate behavior,
Yes.
which means guess what? Which means taking accountability. But we all know that for some people, accountability is like kryptonite.
The country's in shambles, Jose. It's a lot going on.
I know, but you know what's the craziest thing about the whole thing? You know what's the craziest thing about the whole thing? Now we just gone through the longest shutdown period that the government was shut down.
Mhm.
And all we did was we did created a budget resolution which funded the government until January the 30th, which means we may end up going through the whole thing all over again.
Yeah, I was watching though. I watched this, I forget, it's this Asian guy. He has like a channel about money and economics and different things and whatever's going on with the government and different taxes. He just deals with money, right? And so
Yeah.
apparently Trump had went to that Truth Social or whatever that other thing that he uses other than Twitter, and he had said that he was going to give out $2,000 checks or more. And so apparently he has doubled down. I just watched a video and they said that he has doubled down on that. So what do you think about that? Because I feel like people are like, he's only going to give people money so that they can like love him and for political gain or whatever. But like, I remember when we were going through it and stuff. And what he sent like stimulus checks, and people were still ungrateful and dragging him. So I don't know. What do you think about it? You think they're gonna send them, because they said like months ago they were gonna send them checks from the money coming in from the Doge or whatever, profits or whatever gains, whatever you want to call it. You think he's gonna
Um,
send the 2,000?
I don't with this Congress. No,
Well, that's the
no.
thing. They said that he doesn't have to go through Congress for it because it's not from taxpayers' money. It's literally like it's something. I don't know. I watched the channel and they were talking about it. He doesn't have to get Congress's approval.
Well, look, the reality is this: even after we got the last stimulus checks before he left office, he was talking about $2,000 stimulus checks, but those 2,000 stimulus checks never came into being.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'll look. I will believe it when there's actually a bill in place where
Well, the guy
okay
had said that since that they got
with
that money from the Doge overflow or whatever, it's not necessarily coming out of like whatever else the pool is of our money. So like he can actually distribute them checks if he wants to without Congress's um authorization. But I don't know how true that is. That's just what I saw.
um if we're talking about giving out $2,000 stimulus checks,
Well, they're not stimulus checks. They would be
depending
something
now,
different.
okay, rebate checks or whatever it is, it's going to take hundreds of billions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
um, in order for that to come into being.
Yeah.
And then talking about, well, if your income is 75,000 or below, you'll get the full 2,000, and then if it's above it, you'll get a prorated depending how much over it is. Look,
Oh, so
until
you have
there
checked
is
into it a
an
little bit. Is that what it is? Is that
yeah.
what the cutoff is? 75,000?
Well, at the once you when you once you make a dollar over 75,000,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get a rebate, but it's gonna be prorated.
Okay, okay. And where did you research this at, or
Which
this is what
is
you just heard like on the news?
actually, if you take a look, it's very similar to what the stimulus checks is. If
Mm-hmm.
your income was below a certain amount, you get the full amount. If it's past a certain amount, you will get like a prorated, and then once you reach like a ceiling, you don't get anything.
Okay, okay.
So my speculation, if there's an actual bill, it'll be something similar. Okay. Now, Congress may want to lower the income limit instead of cut you know you know people who make $75,000 a year, maybe lower it to 40,000 a year. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll believe it when there's an actual bill in place.
Yeah, yeah. We shall
Okay.
see. That was my initial thought at first, and then I watched like I said, the videos today, and they said he came back and they doubled down on it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess he is at least considering it seriously. If he's still talking about it, well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are
Well,
against it as well because they're like, well, you should just put it to the debt because, you know, we're broke. But then it's like, well, we keep funding
I know.
wars and military action and stuff like this anyway. So fuck that. I'd rather the American people get some money out the deal than like the wars and stuff like that. Because you know,
Okay. Well, But then again, we're dealing with a Congress that can't even create a budget for an entire fiscal year. I mean, the last time we actually had a budget that lasted the entire fiscal year is when the Democrats was in charge.
Yeah, because their jobs are to debate and like figure it out and compromise and like meet in the middle and come up with deals. And so it should be like any other job where it's like, if you can't do your job, then you got to go. Like, that's how I'm looking at it. Like, if you can't do your job, then you need to go because that's literally their job to come together, work together. You know, it's not their job to have a government shutdown every 6 months because they can't get their shit together, right?
And you know what's the crazy part? You know how many times we came close to a government shutdown ever
That's
since
what
the
I'm saying. Every
Republicans
time
has
I turn
taken over?
around, it's something.
I mean, it's kind of like the ops are running Congress.
Listen, our country's going to hell in a handbasket currently. But speaking of, we got distracted. That what's her name? Marjorie or whatever. That tea is smoking hot. So she was literally on the kind of, would you call it the extremist side before? Like they said she was
Hmm.
liking tweets about people being unalived and everything. And now she's just like peace, peace, peace. I don't know, she's had a change of heart or what it is, but it is kind of strange when somebody goes to like kind of being extremist to being like just flipping completely. But it can happen. I ain't gonna say that it can't, but it's just, it looks strange, right? Like, what do you think about that whole situation? And then Trump, she was saying that, she was being threatened and all that against her life, which I believe her because people threaten people for their lives, for making stupid ass videos on YouTube, let alone, being in a position of power in this country. But Trump is just so funny, and the way he laughed it off, he's like, "Yeah, I doubt it. She's just fine." He's like, "Nobody cares about her." It was just so funny. I'm not gonna lie, Jose.
I
That
mean,
man is a damn comedian.
I mean, look. I mean, the reality is this. I never saw this coming. It's so it's like
What's her name again?
I guess that the most Marjorie
Major,
Taylor Greene.
and they call her
Marjorie
Marjorie.
Taylor
They
Greene.
call her Marjorie Trader Green now. I heard that like on the conservative videos I'll be watching, like I'll be on that side of YouTube, and they call her Marjorie and Trader Green now.
Well, the funny thing is, quite a few of the mega crowd is angry with Trump
I
about
told
some
you
of
that.
his policies.
Yeah, because I told you the conservative party right now is fractured because they have the quote unquote MAGA side, which is basically, let's be honest, more so Christian leading and pro, even though like they're not really like all of them Christian. Some of them are like just. But I'm just saying, like that's like the ideology behind it, right? Um, and they support Jewish people, and then you got the other side now, which is like becoming the majority because we are in the end times and everybody's going to turn against the little hats, right? Well, they're saying America first, basically, F F Israel. So that is what the break is right now in the conservative party. And so, like, I don't know, what do you feel like the Democrats are just kind of like sitting there, like rubbing their hands together and just like enjoying the show so they can like figure out how to take back power while the conservative party is breaking down? Like, what do you think?
Okay, before the Democrats start popping the cork and getting that champagne out,
Yeah.
they better they better be prepared to actually deal with something, to provide some sort of solutions. Or else, guess what? A lot of people
What
are not going to
solutions,
vote.
Jose, what solutions y'all gonna come up with? Y'all got y'all cities going to hell. You done gave it over to the illegals. Like, I mean, there's no way that y'all can get back in charge again. I'm sorry. Like we've the border being closed was good. You know how many sleeper cells we have in this country of people that are ready to attack? us at the given word because our border was left wide open.
And and look, one of the reasons, some of the reason why Kamala Harris uh, did not win. I mean, they were not able to provide any, worthwhile solutions, and they did allow the situation with the migrants to go forward. And
But it's more than
basically,
migrants. It's terrorists that came in. It's more than just migrants,
yeah,
it's terrorists. And now I will say, before I was like, okay, I'm right, right, right. Now I would say I definitely feel like I'm an independent that leans more right. But there is stuff that I also agree with on the Democrat side. So I feel like on the Democrat side, they let the whole movement get, out of control with, the identity politics and the rainbow and all that other stuff. They just kind of lost sight of like the American people. And then I feel like with the conservative side, like I feel like the racists and like the anti-Semites are like trying to take over like on the conservative side. I really feel like it's two wings of the same bird, but like what do you say? Pick your poison, right?
okay, I think, well, the one way to look at it, do you want to be executed by hanging, or you want to be executed by guillotine, or you want to be executed by
Either way,
uh,
we're done for. We're cooked, right? Either way, we are cooked, Jose.
you're talking about picking your poison. It's like picking the way to die.
And then like the white supremacists came over on my channel running their damn mouth. I'm like, you guys have lost sight of the plot. You don't have to deal with black people like that. You literally don't even live in their neighborhoods. Like, what are you guys crying and moaning about? Because they come online and they're constantly crying about how black people play victims and play the race card and they do all this other stuff. It's literally the same shit that they're doing now. Cancel culture, crying. Like they're both sides are doing the same thing. Like you can't make it up. Playing victim.
And you
Not
know
saying that
what's
black people are playing victim, but I'm saying like these are the things that white people that like the white supremacists accuse black people of. But like they're doing that now. The only difference is they're blaming all their problems on Israel. Like the black community blame it on the white man, but the white
but you
community blames it on Israel.
but you know what's the crazy part of all this, Gigi?
Mm.
All this started hundreds of years ago because certain people had the brilliant idea of bringing people to come over here to get free labor and, let's keep it real, free Gucci as well. Um, because and
Did you say
then
Gucci or
centuries
Gucci?
later, we're complaining about. I mean, come on. We all know that some of the slave masters actually gotten dirty. Had intercourse with their slaves.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you said Gucci or Gucci. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, of
Gucci.
course. Mhm. I never heard you say
No,
Gucci
but this
before.
is the
That's
thing.
funny.
I mean, but let's keep it real. They brought people. They brought people from Africa to come over here for free labor, and then hundreds of years later, we're complaining. They're complaining about the trauma that they went through,
Yeah, they
where
inflicted.
their ancestors were the one that brought in here against their will.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm telling you that I can't like,
So
as a biracial person, I can't fully just like stand either way because it's like, it's a lot going on both sides. And like literally, I just feel like as Americans, to be honest, Jose, I feel like regardless of what race we are, I feel like as Americans, we should all be like joining together in solidarity at this time because we have a lot of things coming to this country that's on the way, and it's going to be a rough ride.
Okay, well, in order for us to get together, we need people who have some brain cells that not turned to oatmeal, and who can can take accountability for some of the things that they did.
And some of these cities are already hellholes. Like like I'll pass by on my feed, like this is going on in Chicago or in this place or in that place, and protest and this and that. And it's just weird because, like where I am, we don't have any of that going on. So it's kind of like life is normal. But in some places, it is actually chaos right now.
Well,
For
believe
a
it or
while.
not, believe it or not, a couple of weeks ago, during the shutdown, there were people that were protesting right in front of the building where I work regarding the shutdown. It's like, we got nothing to do with this.
Oh, really? So were they harassing you guys?
I mean, they were protesting. I mean, I don't know if they harassed any of the staff, and I didn't know because basically, uh, because you see there are different entrances. There's one entrance for the public, and then there's another entrance for the staff.
Oh, my phone had went out. I was asking you, what was the vibe? Were they like harassing you guys, or were they just kind of there in the way and not really focused on you guys?
I don't know. I don't know if they was harassing us. I know they were complaining about the fact that they were denied their SNAP benefits.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that's sad
Yeah.
too as well because, I mean, that's the thing too about the whole mentality of the country being upside down. It's like, do you really think that this country is broke because people are on food stamps? This country is broke because of like the rich at the top getting over, being tax free, screwing over people. They literally hoard all the money at the top, and we all are at the bottom fighting over the scraps like they want us to be. So, do I get food stamps? No. Did I in the past? Yes. And thank God that I did. It helped me with my children. And so when people are making videos and they're laughing and they're just like, whatever, whatever, like, I actually think about like there are children behind those situations. Not only children, there are elderly people that can't just go out and get a job that depend on food stamps. There are disabled people. It was actually a very serious thing. So that's why I say I'm kind of in the middle, Jose, because if I was all the way right, like I wouldn't even have no mercy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look, when it comes to the elderly, okay, they should be able to get SNAP benefits. The disabled definitely SNAP benefits. Anyone that's out of work and is or is working but is not making enough. Okay, it's one thing if you are working and you're just not making enough money, so of course you need to apply for SNAP. It's another thing when you're getting hundreds of dollars in SNAP benefits, hundreds of dollars in cash assistance, and you're also getting SSI, Section 8, all that, and you're not making any effort um,
Well, in order to get
to
SSI,
improve
there
your
has
own
to be a proven in order to get SSI, there has to be a proven disability. And the thing is that like I totally do get that, and I do agree that like yeah, that's supposed to be for like a hand up and not like a forever thing. But people are acting like people like or that people that get food stamps are just like balling out of control and living great lives. It's like no, you have to like stay under a certain bar at the minimum. You got to stay broke to get any damn assistance unless you got like different things under the table, or maybe you got a man that's giving you money or whatever. But people that are just acting like people are just like living like celebrities with their food stamps are fucking delusional. I don't know. I did hear about migrants having thousands of dollars of food stamps, but I don't know anything about regular Americans really getting you know thousands of dollars of food stamps unless they have like I don't know 50 kids. It's That's just not how it
Well,
works.
I mean,
And you should know that because you work for the
at
city. You
one
know.
point, look, at one point, we were actually giving these migrants debit cards worth of hundreds of dollars so they can get food because the food that they were getting from these shelters were poor quality. And it's like, so you're gonna give people that came to the United States because of their refugee status or whatever, but you're not gonna take care of your own citizens.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But that energy has now shifted onto like the poor people of the country where everybody's shit. But my point is, I don't give a shit about food stamps. That's what makes this country great, that we have social programs and different things, available so that people aren't living in fucking mud hoods on the side of the road eating mud pies, right? Like it's because we're a civilized country. So I'm okay with it. To be honest, I'm okay with it. Like I said, I
I
wouldn't be
mean,
okay with it
yeah.
if the top 1% of the country wasn't hoarding all the money, but they're hoarding all the money. They're getting paid 70 million a year to kick a football down the field, but we can't pay our teachers more than 40,000 a year. Like there's a problem with this system.
I'll do one even better. The fact that we have municipal employees that have bachelor's degrees and making $40,000 and $50,000 a year living in shelters,
Wow. Yeah.
that's sad when you think about it.
But, what is the answer though? Because, like with your mayor now, he's going like the socialism way. We all see where that lies. You don't put your life into the freaking government's hands. So it's like capitalism makes sense in that way where you're kind of like responsible for yourself, I guess. But the rent keeps going up and the pay stays the same, and they're leaving people with no choice that they're going to start voting in all these socialists and all these different types of politicians, and then the country's going to start looking like something different than it's ever been. And they're pushing us
Mhm.
towards that on purpose, I think.
Yeah. Oh,
People
how's
living even
Jamie
live in
doing?
New York because New York's rent. I literally I follow a couple of channels and they'll go and they'll show these like shoe in the box apartments. Literally, some of them you can't even barely even touch. You can probably touch one side of the room with one arm and one with the other, and they're still like $1,000 a month. It's insane.
$1,000 a month. Try $2,000 a month. Try
But
three
that's what
thousand
I'm
dollars a month.
saying. Like, but I'm talking about the ones that are just like where you're pretty much living in a closet or whatever. And I'm just like, wow. I don't know. So you're lucky. You're lucky because you own your apartment, right?
Yeah, I own my apartment, so
But it's a bad situation
because
for your city,
it is
though.
really, yeah. Well,
It's
we'll
bad in
see what
Florida too.
Mandani does. Yeah.
There's a whole
Well,
trend where you see there's a
what
whole
can I say?
trend on TikTok of people that are moving from New York. Specifically, a lot of people have moved ever since since they voted him. They're moving down here, and a lot of them are already ready to go back because you come down here and it's just like you're not going to have the same opportunities and you're going to have expensive ass rent, you know?
Well, actually, when I was younger, because that was like 5,000 years ago. One of the things I thought about doing was once I retire, relocate to Puerto Rico and live there. But with the whole political situation over there in Puerto Rico, it's even worse.
No, no, you definitely don't
In
want to go to
fact,
Puerto
in fact,
Rico.
a lot of the professional people have left Puerto Rico to move to the United States.
Listen, Jose, I live in Florida. This is the retirement capital. The place that if you actually have money and you want to retire, you move to Florida. Like, there is a place here in Central Florida, not that far away from me, honestly. And these are huge, huge, huge retirement only communities. You have to be like 55 and above to even live there. They have parties, they hang out, they ride around on their freaking go-karts. Like they have their own little senior world over here and they are living it up over there, okay? So this is actually the place that you want to move when you are an older person and you want to like have fun the last, would you call it, the golden years? Your golden years, you want to have fun? I don't want to say your last. That sounds
Yeah,
bad. I meant like the golden years. Um,
yeah,
cause
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
or as I like to call, or as I call it, the senior years, because I'm
I
technically I'm a senior citizen.
I don't know why I said the last. That was so horrible. But you know what I meant. Um, yeah, this is definitely the
I know
place that
what
you
you
want to
meant.
move
Look,
because these old people are living it up.
I mean,
They are dancing, they're screwing, they're dating, they're clubbing, they're golfing, they're doing whatever the hell they want to do is what they're doing.
yeah. Well, believe me, when I retire, I plan to live an very active retirement. I'm not going to be sitting home alone. I mean, I mean, I'll be active with my union. Plus, there's two senior citizen centers in my neighborhood. So I'm going to keep myself busy.
I would think though, yeah, like you living in a big city like New York, that there's always something to do in New York. So even though it's a different situation, New York would still probably be ideal to live in. You know what I'm saying? As a senior person, because there's so many things to do. The difference down here, I would say though, is that they have like really big developments and communities though, like where everybody's in one spot. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. Well, so when you're going to be are you going to be doing any lives in the near future, or basically just going to do your
I
videos?
need to. I paid for my StreamYard, but what am I going to talk about, Jose? I'd
Anything
have to
that's
go
on your
find
mind?
topics like I used to and like put in that work. I don't have as much time as I did before because I don't usually, you know me, I don't typically normally just go live just to go live. I typically go live like if there's a topic. If either I got some drama going on or I actually like have a topic with clips and then we comment, we give our commentary on it. So I would have to plan it. And I have literally talked to a bunch of people that were like, yeah, if you go live, I'll come through, like bigger content creators and stuff. But I just haven't done it. I don't know. I've been focusing on
I
videos.
get it.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, I get it. I mean, look, let me tell you something. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of energy to create content. Okay. If I had to raise children, I wouldn't be doing as many lives as I do now.
I feel like I get because I do actually enjoy live streams and stuff like that. So I kind of get it out my system a little bit when I come over and hang out with you and come over here and talk on the live stream or whatever. Um, but I do need to go live more because, I had a really good show
I
going.
know. Yeah.
Whether you liked it or you didn't, I mean, you kind of couldn't look away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody
Of
watched it.
course, of course, I'll probably have to take a nap during the day to make sure I stay up late to catch your lives and what have you. Because I'm look, let's keep it real. I'm not as young as I used to be.
Jose, I forgot to tell you. Did you see that Kim123 made a channel back again?
Really?
He
What?
did, and
So
I'm
what?
gonna
So
make a
what? So
video on him. I'm gonna cover it. He made a
so,
video.
so what? So he can continue talking about Mr. BBC.
Yeah, he came over and he was dragging the
and
freaking. He came
how
over.
black
Listen,
people go to sanctuary.
well, he made a video, a live stream about the mulattoes, and he had Vanguard on the cover or whatever. But I was thinking though it has been kind of boring around here. Like maybe I should just introduce the Latinos to the chat again and make a video. So I might do that. There's nothing else going on. Some people will be mad, but I really don't give a shit because
Look,
all to be honest, all the motherfuckers on that side don't fuck with me anyways. I don't give a fuck about a bunch of beta ass dudes or whatever that literally
look.
are
In
under
all
the
fairness,
command of a fucking weirdo. Like, fuck out of
I mean,
here. You really got your own mind.
look, they'll get upset with you if you say 1 plus 1 is two. They'll say, no, it's three.
They're upset with me when I don't say anything at all, so who cares, right? What they all don't understand
It looks
is
like you.
they don't understand that if I make a video on them, it's a literal blessing. It's literally when when people make videos on you, it's giving you relevance. It's you understand what I'm saying? Like, and to be honest, if I make it a video on you, I feel like it's a blessing because also like I'm not like a evil troll where I'm like going to the depths of hell to like hurt people. So it's just kind of like funny and lighthearted for the most part, my videos. So it's like the way that these people be crying is just it's absolutely ridiculous. There remember Bala X and like
Well,
Pennywise? I was so happy to make those channels. Like these people are they don't have any like YouTube business sense, I don't think.
remember when you had your troll channel and you made your humorous remarks. Sometimes you made humorous remarks about me. I actually laughed. I mean, it's like,
Well, because none of them were
okay.
really bad
Uh,
about you. It was just like what was it? It was about how you'd always be like my platform. So like I would make like funny gifs about that, like you just being like all about your platform. Like I never did anything mean about you. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say, that I control and make people laugh. I don't necessarily have to be like super mean about it because that's really not my intent anyways. If you see me mean, it's because that person has gotten mean with me, you know?
but I understood it as humor, so therefore I didn't get all that bothered. I just
Because
looked at
it
it
was
as funny.
funny.
Okay, I can laugh at it. But then again,
Oh,
the circus has to be the circus. So,
yeah,
in
those
any case, anything else? Is you have any final remarks before I begin to wrap this up? Because it kind of deviated, but you know what? It's good because you got to learn how to go with the flow sometimes.
yeah, because it is an open discussion. My bad about that. But I was just, I haven't talked to you, and sometimes we got to catch up or whatever. And I do like talking politics with you, even though we don't like agree. That's the thing about some people. They don't know how to enjoy a conversation, even if you don't agree with the other person. Like, you don't agree with me on half of the shit I say, but we still have an enjoyable conversation? So it is what it is. But no, but thank you for having me up,
Well,
Jose.
okay.
And, uh-huh. What were you
Well,
going to say?
thank you for stopping by, and please give my love to Dreamy.
I will. I just spoke to her today, actually. She's doing good. She has a video in the vault that she's working on, so she'll drop a video soon and whatever, but I will definitely tell her. But you have a good night,
Okay,
Jose. I will
thank
talk
you.
to you soon.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye, everybody. Make sure you guys
So,
hit the like button for Jose. Bye.
and bye. And so I'm just gonna wrap this up. I'm glad it went the direction it went. Um, but it goes back to the fact that matters. You need to do what you can to keep your inner peace, because there's going to be people that's going to try to rub you the wrong way. Okay. So huge shout out to all those that will watch it on the playback and those who watch from the clouds. And of course, you're more than welcome to submit your comments, and if you find value, share it as well. I will be live on Thursday at 9 o'clock on my other channel, where I'm going to be discussing the effects of the latest government shutdown, and question: Are we going to be dealing with another government shutdown? Because it did affect a lot of people, and a lot of it in negative ways. Um, but you have to love yourself to protect your inner peace, and that's the whole thing. And of course, we're going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity, mess, and insanity. And of course, whatever you say, do for the glory of God. And with that being said, I wish all of you a pleasant good night. Take care, be blessed, and peace.